Hello everyone. It is Waylay Nayo here with the second episode of All the Great Stories podcast, a podcast where I talk about my favorite stories in pop culture, movies, TV, books, all that in between. I don't know what kind of episode this is going to be. I'm recording it on my iPad. It's 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday, and I just wanted to kind of talk though, because I haven't done a podcast episode and I've been trying to figure out what I want to do with this podcast and how I want to format it. And I think right now I'm just going to go for an informal thing, just like talking for 15 minutes and wrapping it up. So yeah, today I wanted to talk about why I love stories so much and how stories have really impacted me. I have always been a big book reader, movie watcher, TV show viewer, and more recent years with the rise of podcasting, a podcast listener, and I just think stories are awesome. I think a big thing for me about them has been the sense of escaping from my problems, which I think everyone goes through. People say I go to the movies to escape my daily life, to escape the sometimes crappy stuff that's going on. And I think that movies and TV shows and all those things are good for that. They are good for kind of giving you a break from your regular life, kind of putting you in the shoes of different characters, different situations, so that you can kind of hit pause and just kind of go on a new adventure, an adventure that, you're not the main character of, but you can still enjoy. And, that's been a big part of why I love stories so much. I think about, sorry if you heard a car horn. I'm downstairs and I'm by a busy street. Anyway, going back, that was a squirrel moment for me. So I think about most people in the world, I'm a huge fan of Marvel movies. Black Widow just came out. I love it so much. But going back to just in general, I have thought about times where things have been really hard for me, and sometimes I'd be like, oh, I'm going to the movies to see this new Avengers movie or new whatever movie. That's just going to be the thing to get me through. That's going to be the thing that I can pause my life on for 2.5 hours, just sit in a theater, not be on my phone, not be bothered by other people. Generally, I've usually been in pretty good theater audiences. I haven't really ever had an issue with a crazy theater, but not dealing with people who I think, are negative, being in a good space like that, and having that form of escape is really important. I think a really big part of why people love stories, people love going to watch movies or watching TV shows, and I guess some of those lines are being blurred now because of the quality of TV shows nowadays, but that is neither here nor there. But besides the escape part of it, I think this is a more interesting part. I think that good stories also, they don't just, you don't just escape from your life, but you kind of look at your life or a situation differently because of a story. It opens you to a new perspective that you might not have thought of, and I see that a lot in the stories that I love. The stories that, really challenge me. I think about, for example, the movie and the book it was based on, Life of Pi. Life of Pi is about a boy, Pi Patel, who was born in India, and his family, who owns a zoo, they're moving to Canada, and so they take a ship over from India to Canada, and then this big storm happens, and he ends up on a small, not a sailboat, but a boat with this tiger, Richard Parker, and it's him and this tiger in the middle of the ocean together. And there's a lot of philosophy and religious stuff behind it, and so I remember seeing the movie when I was 17 or 18. I went to the theater after class one day, the Gateway Film Center on the campus of Ohio State and here in Columbus, and I remember there was a part of the movie where it's just like this very like cathartic moment where Pai Patel is like yelling at the sky because he's just like angry with the universe and angry with, you know, God, whether you believe in God or not. And, you know, like just that feeling of hopelessness, and I think just being mad at the world. And I think we've all experienced that. I definitely have. But like seeing that moment kind of recontextualized it for me a little bit, if I'm using that word correctly. I just kind of saw it as a reminder of like, hey, you know, you can't do everything on your own. That like life is gonna beat the crap out of you sometimes, and you're not gonna know what to do, but sometimes you just kind of have to give into it. And like I think so for so long, like during that part of my life, I was not ready to deal with it. But seeing that movie and, you know, reading the book before that, because I'm a person who tries to read the book before I see the movie, have been kind of sucking about that recently, but definitely in the past I was that person. From the movie and the book, sorry if I get like distracted and kind of, I don't know, this whole thing is new for me. I'm just pretty much talking, so this could be a mess, this could be good. Second squirrel moment. Anyway, so like reading the book and seeing that movie in particular kind of like made me think about something differently. So it was a form of escape. Like I was in the theater. I think I was one of the few people in there because it was like during the middle of the day. And so I was like escaping from the real world, but then the movie in a way took me back into the real world while I was escaping the real world, and made me think about like my life. Okay, like after I leave this theater, after, you know, the lights come back on, I walk out onto the street, like my life can be different in this way because of what I just saw or what I just read. And so that, I think that's another like beautiful thing about stories, and why I love them so much, and maybe why other people love them so much. I think everybody loves things for different reasons, which is great because that is what being human is all about. We're not all the same. We are all very different, and we respond to things very differently. What else do I want to talk about before my time is up? I think another thing for me was stories and like what I want to do with this podcast, hopefully going forward, because this is something that I've really been wanting to do, but like don't know how to like find my voice with it. Like I want to be like super professional, but then I'm also like, I just kind of want to talk like I am right now, because this is how I kind of go through my day. It's just talking about the things I love. And so I think about also when it comes to stories, and something that I hope to kind of cultivate with this podcast, and if people listen to it, great. If people don't, yeah, I'm still going to do it, is like not shaming people for the stories that they love or that the films that they find comfort in. I think especially with the internet is like a great tool, and it has connected people like never before. Like it is like revolutionizing, or a revolution to say the least. But and also, you know, with the good comes bad, and especially like being where I am, like on like different fandoms, like a Marvel fandom, or like I used to be like in Game of Thrones, like Star Wars fandoms, like these different fandoms of like TV shows and movies and books. Like I think sometimes, and you know, 95% of the time, it's very positive, like people sharing what they like and don't like, and like not making it like a huge deal. It's like, okay, we agree to disagree, but like overall, like we're glad that these things are out there. But then also there are some people who it's like, if you don't agree with them exactly, you know, that it's like, oh, you're an idiot, you're stupid, and it's like, why do you like this thing, or why don't you like this thing? And like, I don't want to bring that attitude into this podcast. Like there are some things that I don't like that other people might really like, and there are some things that I really love that other people just think is like a piece of shit. I don't know. And yeah, I am gonna cuss on this podcast, just that's just how I talk. But you know, I don't want if this creates a community of sorts, I want people to be able to share the stories and the characters and, whatever. I want them to be able to share their favorites that have really helped them in life and not feel shamed about it. And that's something that really makes me sad. Just kind of like being online sometimes, like people, stories like save people's lives. Like I've seen people online say like, I sometimes just feel like giving up, then I remember like, oh, this show is coming back or this movie's going to be coming out, and I'm frankly just curious to see what happens. I'm going to keep living until that happens. It's like it's bigger than just like being entertained. It's something that inspires you to live, and I don't ever want to contribute to something that makes people question or feel bad about that spark that they have. And I don't know, I get really sick and tired of seeing it, and that's what I've been thinking a lot about the past couple days. And I guess seeing like the Black Widow movie, which again I loved. I saw some people were like, oh yeah, it was fine. Some people, oh, it sucked. I fucking loved it. And so it's like, but like I also respect that other people don't, and I don't agree with them, and so I don't really engage online like that anyway. But it's like, I don't like when I see other people like comment and like crap on other people's opinions. Like, it's just stupid. I don't know. I'm probably just sound like I'm complaining. I don't want that to be what this podcast is about. I really should probably make a plan before I just start recording things. But right now, that's just not happening. But yeah, going forward with like all the Great Stories podcasts and whatever future things I want to do, like I want to make sure it's a community where people feel safe in sharing the stories and the characters that they love, and not feeling like they're on trial for loving those things. Like they don't have to defend it to the death. And I hope to really share like the things that inspire me, the stories and the characters that have helped me throughout my life. And I mean, there's a plethora of things from like big stories and franchises like Marvel, Lord of the Rings, not so much Star Wars. I'm not really a huge Star Wars fan. But like those big things, like I want to share those with people and then hopefully hear from other people. And I don't know, just I've been thinking a lot also about like just positive communities, and I really want to do that around spaces where I think people can really connect and have fun. And if I can be a part of that in some way, even if it's like a community of 5 people, I will be so happy, because I think everybody needs a safe space to be in, to be able to express what they love and not feel shamed for it. And I really just want to be a part of that in any way that I can, and hopefully that this podcast can do that. And yeah, so that is the second episode of All the Great Stories podcast. It is probably rough, but I am going to stop recording it and publish it right away, because that's just kind of how I'm feeling tonight. It is, I don't know, it's just a random thing that I wanted to do, and sometimes, and maybe this is me just being impatient, I just want to put stuff out there and not worry about all the formalities and like, oh, it has to be edited this way and that. Maybe in the future it'll be there, but yeah, I really appreciate those who are listening, who may be listening, and I hope to come back with another episode very soon. So thanks, and I will play the music and we'll fade out.